Hello and welcome to this week's Just Be Mentally Free from Anxiety
Are you
talk show.
listening?
I'm thrilled that you are joining me. I'm Paul
Damn.
Cartone, a licensed psychotherapist, life coach, and sports performance coach, specializing in
Yeah.
anxiety. I've suffered from anxiety and panic attacks and have been helping people with anxiety for 17 years. I'm proof that you can overcome this condition and eliminate panic attacks. I say this is a condition because I believe it's something that's developed over time and has a root cause. If you're suffering from anxiety, you don't have a disease and you're not mentally ill. You're not going crazy, and in a short time, you can overcome this condition. And it took some time to develop this condition, but you can certainly overcome it in a lot less time. And I've seen this time and time again. And I'm proof. But I do understand what you're going through and how difficult it is to live with. I don't want to minimize the fact that anxiety can be very debilitating and limit your life experiences, but I want to give you hope that you can be free from anxiety. And that's what this show is all about. In my 17 years of counseling, I have come up with a paradigm that works. You can visit my website at www.justbementallyfree.com for more information about me and my services. You can even schedule a free consult, and I will gladly speak with you and answer any questions you may have. And please email me with any questions you have, especially if you want a question answered on the show, at paulcartone@live.com. That's PaulCartone at live.com. Speaking of questions, today's question is from Joanne. She had sent this in from after last week's show, and it sort of ties into last week's question. Actually, I had somebody ask me about medication, but Joanne wrote and asked, she actually said, I believe that I have anxiety for life. She ended with a question mark, so she's really not sure. And then she said, this was told to me by my psychiatrist. And you know what, Joanne, that's not the first time I've heard psychiatrists tell that to one of their patients. But anyway, her question is, do I have a disease and do I need to be on medication for life? Thanks, Joanne, for writing in, and I'm going to answer that question at the end of the show. That's a great question. Now I'm going to talk about a topic that I hope will help you to begin taking control back from your anxiety. It's about what you can do to begin to feel in control from your anxiety. When I help people, I combine traditional and non-traditional techniques when I work with clients. This traditional technique is absolutely necessary and happens to be the first step in overcoming anxiety and panic attacks. If you know somebody who is suffering from anxiety, this is a very difficult concept to grasp, and it's very risky for them and from their perspective. So the first step in overcoming anxiety is to allow yourself to feel it. Allowing yourself to feel the anxiety and panic attack will lessen the intensity. If you can train your mind to allow yourself to feel it and experience it over time, it will become less intense and less scary. This is very difficult to do for many reasons. And it all comes down to fear. Fear just consumes those who are suffering from anxiety. And you know what I mean if you're an anxiety sufferer. But again, you don't need to live like this anymore. A major characteristic of those suffering with anxiety is that need to be in control. The thought of allowing yourself to actually feel it, is beyond one's comprehension who's suffering from anxiety. And especially, you know, if they have panic attacks that go along with the anxiety. Because, it's so bad it just rules their world. When you try to control and contain the anxiety, just the opposite happens. So you really have to understand that. The opposite happens when you try to control it. It's like trying to control a wild caged animal inside of you. It has to get out. But the thought of letting it out for the anxiety sufferer is terrifying. So the opposite happens when you try to control it. The feelings of anxiety intensify inside your body and take total control. So this leads to obsessive thinking, which can certainly elicit a panic attack. When you try to lock it inside and control it. Remember that caged animal? You're feeding it and giving it more power and fuel to last for a longer time. And this is a vicious cycle. The anxiety sufferer must do the opposite. It takes a lot of practice and self-awareness. And again, this is a traditional technique that you really have to train your brain and reprogram, to think this way. So here it is. When the feelings of anxiety present themselves, instead of trying to control it and locking it in, containing that caged animal, you must immediately give yourself permission to experience it. I want you to think about that. Give yourself permission to experience it. By giving yourself permission, you are setting yourself up to manage the anxiety and take away its power. Making a simple statement like, quote, I am allowing myself to feel this, and I'm giving my body permission to have this feeling. That's the first step. So again, I'm allowing myself to feel this, and I'm giving my body permission to have this feeling. Next, take a deep breath. So deep breathe and take a breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. So you slowly inhale through your nose and fill your stomach up with air, not your chest. That's shallow breathing. So you want to deep breathe, fill your stomach up, and exhale. Over time, this will be an automatic response. If you can practice this, and again, it takes time, but this will be an automatic response. And although you may feel the anxiety, it will be less intense over time, less and less intense over time. So ultimately, this is giving you power and control. So I'm hoping you understand that. So bring it on and invite it to take over when you begin to feel it. Think of it as a game. Open yourself up and allow your body to feel it. And this drains the power from the anxiety and lessens the intensity over time. And ultimately, you win. You win the game. And I want to talk about a panic attack as well. When we do have that extreme anxiety and we try to control it, and then we have that obsessive thinking, our brain is sending a message to our body that something's wrong. So our body goes into this defense mode, and it's trying to defend ourselves from whatever it is that it thinks is happening. And again, we have these fears, impending doom, something bad's going to happen. So our brain releases all these chemicals, and that's why our body physically reacts. And some people feel like we have a heart attack, or we're having a out of body experience, or some people have numbness in their fingers. Some people feel like they're floating, not even here consciously. Just a lot of weird feelings are happening when we're having a panic attack, and it's incredibly scary if you've never gone through one. It's just something I would not want anybody to experience. A lot of times it ends people up. They end up going to the emergency room because they think they're having a heart attack, or they actually think they're dying. And if you're going through and have experienced a panic attack, you know what I mean. So the chemicals that get released are sodium lactate, adrenaline, and cortisol. You have to understand, though, that nothing bad can happen when you have a panic attack. You're not going to die from a panic attack. Again, it's simply your body's response, and it goes into the defense mode when your brain is playing games with you, and you're thinking there's something, death could occur, or this fear just consumes you. So all these chemicals get released, you go through this panic attack and experience all these physical symptoms, but nothing bad will happen. In the end, you're going to feel exhaustion, just exhaustion. You may feel like you want to fall asleep. I've had people say they've had a panic attack for hours, but for me, my panic attacks only lasted minutes. Again, over time, I allowed myself to feel it, let the panic attack just happen, and over time, the more I practiced that, the less intense it was, because I was taking power away from it by just letting it happen. And I wasn't feeding it by trying to control it. So that's the major thing. I know we all want control, but the concept here that you really have to understand is You are in control when you can make that choice. You're in control. When you can make a choice, you have control. So when you make that choice that you're going to allow yourself to feel it and allow yourself to float through it and experience all these feelings and bring it on and win the game, you're making that choice and you are in control, ultimately taking the power and draining the anxiety. So when you try to control it, you think you're containing it and controlling it, and all those negative statements go off in your brain and your mind, and you're putting yourself down, and that's when the anxiety wins, and you're feeding it, giving it more fuel, and just totally takes over, and you're just reinforcing that negative pattern of thinking and behavior, and again, it's just a vicious cycle. If you really want to get control back and overcome this condition, check out my workshop. It's a powerful workshop that will change your life. I guarantee results. I'm all about resolution and helping my clients get closer to living in peace. The workshop is about resolution and resolving the root cause or causes of your anxiety. It's an emotional cleanse. We're going to emotionally cleanse you from the past and reprogram your mind to think positive and love yourself unconditionally. Ultimately being able to live in the present and enjoy life how it should be, not dwelling on the past and worrying about the future. It's a 4-week workshop that consists of 2 online meetings per week, so it's very convenient. There's 8 total classes that are about 90 minutes each. And then you also get 2 one-on-one sessions with me, 2 private 1-hour sessions with me. And actually, all email correspondence is free and unlimited. So it's really affordable compared to one-on-one sessions with me. But that's always an option as well if you prefer that. For more information, you can go to my website, www.justbementallyfree.com. I'm going to end today by answering a question from Joanne, who emailed me asking, she said, I believe that I have anxiety for life because this was told to me by my psychiatrist. Do I have a disease and do I need to be on medication for the rest of my life? First of all, Joanne, I'm not a doctor and I can't give you any medical advice, but I want you to know that medication is a Band-Aid. And I did answer that last week. I answered a question on medication, so please refer to last week's show and listen to my opinion on medication. But to answer the first part of your question, your psychiatrist is flat out wrong. You can indeed overcome anxiety. I say this in the beginning of the show, and I want to reinforce this with all my listeners. It's a condition that's developed, not a disease. This is my opinion and based on my personal experience with anxiety. And over the last 17 years, I've helped those suffering with anxiety and have seen amazing results. So, last week I identified the different types of anxiety sufferers. I want you to listen to that show as well. So, I'll answer that question on the medication from last week's show, and I also talk about the different types of anxiety sufferers. So it's only about a 20-minute program. So figure out which one you are. And don't let anyone tell you different. I'm proof that you can overcome anxiety and panic attacks and be in control of your life. So there's hope. Don't get brainwashed by your psychiatrist. And it's so important, Joanne, that you find the right therapist or life coach that specializes in anxiety and understands exactly what you're going through, such as myself. And I'd be happy to do a free consult with you and help you understand how I can help you to overcome this condition if that's what you choose. So thanks for the question and writing in. And if any of you have any questions or if you want me to talk about a certain topic, please email me at paulcartone@live.com. So thanks for listening today, and I'll be doing this every week. And you can also follow me on Twitter. My Twitter name is @BeMentallyFree, or you can sign up for my blog on my website, www.justbementallyfree.com. And if you're interested in learning more about my services, you can find more information on me there, and even schedule that free consult. And I look forward to hearing from you. And remember, it's my goal to help everyone enjoy a life with peace that they deserve. And just be mentally free.
Yeah.